Week 8 College Football Preview. Top 10 matchup in Columbus, Alabama-Tennessee square off. There are 4 top 25 matchups on schedule. Week 7 of the 2023 college football season took a trip out west as the Pac-12 took center stage. Washington and Oregon put on an absolute classic in Seattle as the Huskies put themselves in the driver's seat in the Pac-12 conference. All eyes were also on reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams as the USC Trojans got blasted by Notre Dame in South Bend. Week 8 of the season brings with it a trip back to the East Coast, at least for the majority of the day. The Big Ten, SEC and ACC all have top 25 matchups before the eyes of the college football world turn to Los Angeles as the Trojans try and keep their college football playoff hopes alive. Let's take a look at a few games to be aware of in Week 8. The Big Ten finally has a big-time conference matchup. Neither the Buckeyes nor the Nittany Lions have faced a Big Ten team ranked in the top 20 this season, but that changes in a big way Saturday afternoon at the Horseshoe. Ohio State head coach Ryan Day is hoping the home crowd will play a role in the game. In particular, their offense, Day said, per the Dayton Daily News. You know, when we're really loud in the stadium anytime that their offense has the ball, it makes it very difficult to operate. The communication, the snap count, you know, all of those things. And so the louder we can be, it doesn't matter whether it's third down, red zone, short yardage, you know, if they're operating and they're on the field, the louder we can be, the more hostile that we can be, advantage Buckeyes. Penn State head coach James Franklin is looking for a monster win. Franklin is 0-9 against top 10 opponents on the road as head coach of the Nittany Lions. Franklin is 1-8 against Ohio State and has lost 6 games in a row. Everybody on the outside is talking, Franklin said Tuesday, according to the Columbus Dispatch. We're approaching it the same way we do every single week. This is a really important game. Why? Because of the way we've handled the previous 6. Both teams enter Saturday's matchup with phenomenal defenses. Penn State is first in the country in yards allowed, 193.7 per game, while Ohio State is 7th in the nation, 263.5 yards per game. The offenses also lead the Big Ten, with Ohio State averaging 443 yards and 36 points per game while the Nittany Lions are putting up 44.3 points and 426.7 yards per game. Health will be a big question mark for Ohio State on the offensive side of the football after running backs Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams missed the Week 7 game against Purdue along with wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. I'm not going to get into all those guys, but I'm hopeful that we'll have all those guys back for Saturday, Day said. It's going to be nearly impossible for these two teams to put on an encore performance after last year's thriller in Knoxville, but when Tennessee and Alabama get together, it's always must-watch television. Tennessee snapped a 15-game losing streak to Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide last October in what went down as the game of the year in college football at Neyland Stadium. Both teams enter Saturday's matchup with different quarterbacks and one loss apiece in the 106th matchup between the two border rivals. It's one of the best rivalries in college football, Saban said. Unlike last year when both offenses were the focus, the defenses of Tennessee and Alabama will get the attention. Alabama and Tennessee are 3rd and 4th, respectively, in the SEC in yards allowed per game, with both defenses giving up less than 20 points per game. Tennessee's defense gets after the quarterback, 24 sacks in 6 games, while Alabama's offensive line has allowed 31 sacks on the year, 126th in the country. To the first part of your question, I would say, hell yeah, Saban said this week when asked if the amount of sacks Alabama has allowed this season was concerning. Tennessee's offense is averaging 231.3 yards per game on the ground, best in the SEC and 6th nationally, while the Alabama defense is allowing 105.3 rushing yards per game. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe played well last week against Arkansas, throwing for 2 scores and running for another as the Crimson Tide remained the only undefeated team in the SEC West. Tennessee last won at Bryant-Denny Stadium in 2003. The Seminoles continue to win with a schedule that looks manageable the rest of the way. If Florida State is able to get by the Blue Devils, the status of Duke quarterback